Oh.
That was Dave Bastel just
No, that was Russell doing the clean and jerk.
lifting some weights. Yeah, that's what we learned yesterday. Learned a lot of things yesterday. Things to talk about this morning here on RawMikeRichards.com, broadcasting from 234 King Street East, the Pacific Junction Hotel. Obviously, the NHL awards, if you're big into the award show. Just can't believe the Spare they have as the host. I get that he's married to...
Spare.
Yeah. You know what? I don't even know what that is in Spanish. I probably
You don't know what spare is? Really?
What?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying because you're basically
Because they don't
fluent.
really use that. I don't
You know,
think.
you spare.
Yeah,
Use a different slang for loser.
Well, bendejo. I know that bendejo is going to be used. We're going to talk to Warren Saku. Talk a little Blue Jays. They get lit up early. At least Laureano does. They lose 6-1 to Texas. We'll talk about Major League Baseball as a whole and the Blue Jays. Just where do they sit as we get closer to the month of July? Actually, today being the first official day of summer. And here in Toronto, actually, it's a pretty nice day. Hopefully it's nice where you are as well. Interesting stories. You know, the more that we have talked about concussion-like issues, we see that Warren Sapp has publicly gone on, actually, you know, the Players Tribune, and talked about how he's going to donate his brain to science simply because he feels now he is suffering from CTE. There are issues that happen to him each and every day that he thinks should be studied. So he's talking about it now while he feels he still can. So sort of a sad story. And also, really, it's almost like a current state when we start talking about the safety of athletes. It comes down in so many ways. In fact, you know, we actually have, if we do get to it, footage of the Adam Braidwood, the Hague fight from the other night. And what you'll see is not a dramatic punch, but this is what we know about those that are concussed. He's already had, 5 of them when he was with UFC. His record was really quite terrible. Terrible. And so to a degree, people would say just a tomato can to go in there. But he went into fight to make money to secure his son's summer so he'd have a good summer, Dave.
That's the saddest part about it right there.
And it happened basically in the weekend of Father's Day.
Saddest part.
He dies on Father's Day.
That's brutal.
Like, there's nothing good about that. And again, it all sort of ties into what we're living right now. And as you get ready for the McGregor-Mayweather fight, people are thinking, well, are we going to get into an issue? Now, I think because of the level of both of those guys, and I'm expecting Mayweather to as much as I hate to admit it, I just don't see how Conor's going to sit there and somehow win this fight. But those issues, I'm sure, are going to be talked about in terms of those getting into another sport where maybe they're ill-prepared to face just what the one combatant, quite frankly, has always been in and has always been a professional, and that being Mayweather. So we'll talk about that. I do also, before we get into some of the issues, want to address the wonderful outpouring that I received yesterday in terms of being told at Sunnybrook Hospital that after 2 years that I am cancer-free. Now, the reason that 2 years is so significant, myself being diagnosed that time with rectal cancer, that 2 years is sort of that line in the sand, and it's most susceptible and to be coming back in those 2 years, and it has not. So, once again, I owe my life to many, including our good friend Tony Luchasano, who literally forced me to go to see Dr. Bernie Gosovitz, and me being a typical guy, thought, why? There's no reason. I never get sick. I'm not hurt that often. If I hadn't have done that, Dave, I'm pretty sure that I'm not here right now. So that is number one. Number two, going to Sunnybrook and having Dr. Shadi Ashamala work on me using a minimally invasive surgery, meaning it's laparoscopics that they used on me, and therefore not only saving my life, but doing it in a way that doesn't literally gut me like a fish, which I know a lot of people go through. So that was big news yesterday, and of course my real hope is that they're able to go in and do what they call a reversal. So it's basically, we're talking about pipes and plumbing, that I'm able to have the ostomy bag that I currently have on my person, and that it would be removed, the plumbing goes back, and then your quality of life and what I would have goes literally completely back to normal, which is very, very lucky. And for the numbers that I've never seen before, really, on my Twitter account, on my Facebook page, Raw Mike Richards, it was really overwhelming. And also, Dave, as you saw some stories that people had about their own plight, because I wish everyone could hear those words. I lost an uncle and an aunt and a sister-in-law all to cancer, and I know what it's like to wait to hear those words, and those words never come. So my prayers to those families that go through that, and I just want to thank you once again on the enormous feeling that it gives me to go on and hear those words yesterday. So thank you very much. RawMikeRichards.com. As we take a look at tonight, Dave, you've got NHL awards. You've got a host that the only thing I think he's famous for is being married to Sofia Vergara. I know he was in Magic Mike. Didn't really line up to get those tickets.
No, didn't I?
Look, I can just go to Russell. I can watch Russell in the backyard.
That guy over there?
Yeah, he's got a Tommy the Turtle pool. He just
3 times.
Turns the hose upside down, takes his shirt off, and I'm thinking, that's remarkable, Russell. There's a movie right there. That's pretty good. But in terms of the awards, what are we expecting here tonight, really?
Do you want me to go through the actual winners so nobody has to watch it tonight?
Okay,
Is that what you want?
All right,
want some background music for me?
So here we go on what is going to be, again, music that you've heard many times beforehand, but in a different circumstance, your NHL award winners.
Okay, here we go. Hart Trophy will go to Sidney Crosby tonight. No doubt about that. He'll be a multi-time winner. Also, the winner of the Rocket Richard Trophy and the Ted Lindsay Award. Best Defenseman, the James Norris Memorial Trophy, will go to Brent Burns, only because Brent Burns had a fantastic, off-the-chart first half. Erik Karlsson, a very good second half. Playoffs don't count, everybody. So it's Brent Burns, Vezina Trophy winner. And we're talking regular season here, so let's put that into perspective. It's Sergei Bobrovsky, and it's because he leads the league in save percentage, goals against. He's up there in wins. He's up there in shutouts. It's what it's all about. He's also nominated for the Hart. So as soon as a goaltender is nominated for the Hart, the voters will sit there and go, oh, okay, he's not winning the Hart. We'll give him the Vezina Trophy. That's just how it works. Calder Trophy, unfortunately, bad news for everybody that bet on Patrick Laine, myself included.
Gee, I didn't see that one coming.
The only reason he's not winning is because he took a nosedive the last 3 weeks of the season. And, of course, he missed about 10 games during the regular season. Austin Matthews will win that award tonight. Best defensive forward, the Selke Award winner, otherwise known as today's Doug Gilmour Trophy, because he was simply the best at that position. It will go to Patrice Bergeron once again, 3-time winner of the Boston Bruins. There is not a better face-off guy, a defensive center, a guy that could do both things on both sides of the ice than Patrice Bergeron. He will win it for a 4th time, no doubt about it.
Let me just jump in here.
Fire away.
Okay. It's just so weird when you have a polarizing figure in an award like that, who also has the same reputation as being a dick. Ryan Kessler is also in that category.
Yes, and he's won it before, too.
And he won it in 11. 2011, he wins it. It's like, nominees, Patrice Bergeron, Ryan, what? Kessler, I suppose. I get why. It's like,
nobody likes you.
And it's like, and Mikko Koivu. Oh, yeah, Koivu. We like the Koivu family. Yeah, it's just strange. Odd sport.
Lady Byng Trophy, nobody cares. So nobody's going to get the award. I'm just joking. If you're betting, bet Vladimir Tarasenko, St. Louis Blues for the Lady Byng. And
I was going to go Dave Keon, but apparently that's going to be too late.
And surprisingly, Mike, this doesn't happen often, but the Jack Adams Trophy goes to the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who happens to be in studio with us right now. Congratulations, Mike Babcock, first-time winner.
I'd just like to say, as much as it's great to get recognized, it's the work of the group that we put together, young kids who go out there every day and go get her done. And I give it to the organization and Big Lou and Shani. We've done all that together. So as much as I got it here tonight, that trophy goes to everybody in the whole group.
And yeah, you got a good group. Don't forget to say group.
Yeah, good group, Dave.
Not team.
Hey, Davey. Call you Davey.
Thanks, buddy.
Got any smokes? Go for a good smoke.
The Masterton Trophy will go to Craig Anderson. If you read any of his battles that he had fighting with his wife, and when you talk about sportsmanship, dedication to the on-ice product, Craig Anderson will win it. He'll get a rounding standing ovation. And if you want to do it right, bring your wife up there too. Nicole Anderson should be on stage as well with Craig Anderson. General Manager of the Year, David Poile of the Nashville Predators. A lot of dynamite moves, and this team went to the Stanley Cup. I should tell you this: General Manager Award is voted on after the second round of the postseason. So you could actually see what the Predators did, upsetting the Blackhawks, getting past the St. Louis Blues. Key wins in the Central Division. David Poile is my General Manager of the Year.
And I can certainly see that. But I also think the job that Peter Chiarelli did. I mean, when you figure that you've got to go in, regardless of your resume, what you had in Boston, you're going into a franchise that has changed general managers, the coaches. It's been a roundabout for all the guys who've taken a shot at it. And they finally got this. And again, I'm not discounting the players that he inherited the moment that he took that job, but to actually make it work for once, he actually has them on the rails. I think he's done a great job, but as you mentioned, because of what Poile has achieved with that team and the teams that he beat, certainly. But you know what? In maybe a year or so, maybe it's Chiarelli that we are taking a look at, because he's done a great job in Edmonton.
Exactly. Finally, the Mark Messier Leadership Award goes to Tim Preston. Tim Preston is my Mark Messier Leadership Award winner. And if it isn't Tim Preston, Ryan Getzlaff will pick up the award in his absence.
Yeah, Tim Preston, just so you know, one of our friends who've just come in, and I think he's emptying the bar because no one's manning it yet. So that also that is also another award.
And it's a veteran move.
You get it. It is a veteran move. Oh, yeah. I'm getting that. Now, in terms of the award show itself, is this something that you?
I'll scan. I'll scan. I can't sit there for 2 hours and dedicate that much time. And I mean, I live in a PVR world, Mike, where I need something fast. I want to fast forward through different sections and so forth. But honestly, I don't spend as much time as I used to on an award show. And you know, there's baseball going on. You know, you look at other games too, and hell, whatever else is on the PVR.
Well, it's just sometimes too, I get the feeling that the NHL sees what happens in other sports and thinks, okay, in order to achieve a certain level, what are we going to do? Somebody says, Las Vegas, baby.
Yes.
And everyone goes, yeah, Vegas, baby. Then they go, yeah, and let's try to get either American famous or internationally famous. So someone says, Def Leppard. And a guy goes, yeah, Def Leppard, baby. When they bring out the Stanley Cup and put it upside down.
Yeah.
It just looks sometimes like you're trying just too hard. Like too hard. Because at the end of the day, as we talked to Brian Blessing yesterday, you know, having some more in-depth maybe feature on what Las Vegas is going to do as a franchise. As a hockey guy, you might watch that. But do hockey people necessarily watch the NHL award show? Does it impact, for instance, here in Toronto, if it indeed you get Mike Babcock and Austin Matthews, two Leafs winning at the award show, if you're a Leaf fan, what does that mean to you? Does it actually mean something? Do you think, does it validate, or is it some kind of affirmation that the plan coming up that has been put together, the blueprint by Lou Lamoriello and Shanahan and Hunter obviously being a part of that, everything that MLSE has done, winning those awards, if you're a Leaf fan, do those two, are they connected? Because I kind of think, honestly, they're not. I think it's nice that you get an individual award, but I think, quite honestly, all Leaf fans know what they have in their coach, and they know what they have in arguably the best young player currently in hockey. I don't think awards change your feeling on that. I don't think they do. I think that the Leaf fans are comfortable with the blueprint that this team is following, and they're more excited team-wise, I think, than they are just one person holding up the trophy, because I think Leaf fans already think he's trophy worthy anyways, win or lose.
Bingo. Two other awards we're getting from our live chat right now, and you can join us. Log on to rawmikeRichards.com and comment and join the party, so to speak. Toronto Habs fan says Marc Bergeron wins Jackass of the Year.
Oh.
I didn't know that was an award.
The trophy's not that great.
No, it isn't. It's kind of weird and anyway. And also Russell Young Russell here.
Oh.
Tex is into me right now. Hey, Dave, big fan of yours. By the way, Nick Foligno has already won the leadership award. So, yeah, it was apparently announced yesterday. This is.
Are you hijacking the show?
I think he's trying to. The short answer is yes.
Is your jealousy still? You just can't. You can't let it go.
We've worked with people like that.
It was that
hashtag Sean Levine.
It was that Tommy the Turtle crack at the top. That was. Here's one from Hudson. Hudson Kerr. So Hud says, late to the party. Congrats on being cancer free and happy belated birthday. I'll send because he makes his. Hud is an amazing piece of work in Michigan. So here's one of our American friends. We'll send salsa. Good for rectal health.
Oh, okay. Well, I did not.
Well, considering right now it doesn't even have to pass through it, Hud. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
I think maybe if I do get the reversal, the doctors might say, "Yeah, let's stay away from the jalapenos. Let's not send fire down the hooper just a little early." But I appreciate Hud. Thanks for the for the tweet here today.
Getting a lot of Sean Levine sucks comments on live chat too.
It's a shame when you're not even on the show and people around the world don't even maybe know who that is, but he's still taking the shots. There's so much going on. Before we leave hockey, though, let's talk about the unveiling of the new, exciting jerseys.
Oh yes.
So you know what? I hate to say it, but I'm going to play.
Fire it up. Do you have the German national anthem to kind of go with the theme of the jersey, or do you want to go?
It looks like Rockin' Robin Hood to me.
I'm just saying.
It does. Okay, so I'm going to do. You know what? Music's coming. It is. The shit music. Look at those fabulous New Jerseys.
Welcome to Vegas. Why the red? Like, honestly, pick a color and go with it. You got white, gold, black, gray, yellow, red. I mean, was purple unavailable, or did you think maybe fuchsia you could have thrown in there as well? I don't like them. When I first heard, Mike, that the combinations were going to be gold and black, the first thing I thought of, New Orleans Saints. Go with that jersey. New
Orleans Saints is a nice looking color, and again, based on what you see at West Point or Army with the Black Knights,
yes,
they have that look too. That's a similar look. But when you start putting the little, I guess that knight helmet, is that what it is? The knights that say knee. I mean, I don't know. Then the red with the yellow, because you know they always have some weird breakdown of the colors.
Yes.
The gray is for the steely nature of your team. Right. The red is for the blood, which is the lifeline of your team. Yes. And the yellow is yellow. Who doesn't love yellow?
And the white gloves is for the leading goal scorer on this team that's going to have 12 goals at the end of 82 games. Because wearing
and a little Michael Jackson, because oh my God, we all miss MJ. He's you know what I'm saying? And look at now on the mannequin, if you can see it.
Yeah, let's go back to the mannequin.
The way that they've done but look at the socks. Look the weird. They look like they're firefighters when the boots kind of hang down.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I never thought of it. Maybe I'd get that for my brother.
Yeah.
Hey, Merry Christmas. You're getting some Las Vegas Golden Knights socks.
Yeah, before he punches Dave Keon in the head this time.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe he asks for it.
Mike will mix it up with guys at All-Star games. It doesn't matter who it is.
But lose the white gloves, lose the red, lose the yellow, and go predominantly black. Don't go so much gray. I don't mind gray.
Like
but
I think of the teams that have so I mean you got. You know, I guess Pittsburgh has similar colors. Nashville has similar colors. I don't know if you want to put Boston in that category, but there'd be ways of doing it that look, as you say, look more New Orleans Saints than they do.
Yeah,
it's
a sharp-looking jersey.
Yeah,
sharp. Let's throw up the rest of the NHL jerseys right now, Mike.
It's time for
what is it? Oh,
Hey, bastards! Hateful! Eight.
That's kind of what this is.
Okay, here
it is. Here's
These are the jerseys that I hate.
All right, the top 8.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's throw Vegas into this conversation. New Jersey Devils, not sure what you're doing with your product. Not sure at all. Nashville Predators, could you make an ugly jersey even uglier?
Wow.
Answer, yes. Yes, you can. Colorado goes back to their throwbacks. I still don't like that color. Every single time I look at that, I still think Quebec Nordique.
Yeah.
You made a big mistake, Minnesota Wild, with that striped down down the middle. You go cream. You don't go white. Don't know what you're thinking exactly, but I don't know about that franchise anyway.
They've never got it right.
No, they haven't.
They got red with green. It looks like a Christmas tree that threw up. That's what they have.
Honestly. Washington Capitals, if you want to include more stars like you did in the 80s, it's probably a good idea. You didn't do it there. So there's my hateful eight of the NHL jerseys.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, and see, because I will still say that the classic jerseys in most sports still look better than anything that's been done. So you look at the Rangers. Can't make a mistake with a Ranger jersey. You keep
Montreal.
it the same.
I'm a big Montreal Canadiens jersey
Still
guy.
looks solid.
Whether you like the team or not, I love the jersey.
Still looks solid. You're
Chicago Blackhawks.
Chicago Blackhawks.
You know, that's Marissa's favorite jersey. Every single time I pull out the jersey book, she's like, I like this one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just like them because they won 3 cups in the last 7 years. Don't give me that crap.
You go to your room. You think about that.
Yeah. You like the Jets logo, and you like the throwback Jets logo even better than the new one.
Yeah. By the way, Easter Bunny, not real. Looking at other stories we want to touch upon before we get to our good friend Warren Saku. The juggling around we see right now in the NBA, and it looks like there is some movement if indeed Lopez goes over from the Nets to the Lake Show. They're also, the Dwight Howard thing to me. You think about Dwight Howard, what he was when he was in Orlando. If he could get in the hot tub time machine, I don't know if you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. You get in that hot tub time machine, you go back to when you were in Orlando and start rethinking some of those moves. Since 2012, it's been what, like 4 teams?
Yeah.
He's now just a salary dump to a degree when you take a look at it. And I guess the big question in Toronto, so Masai Ujiri and for Kyle Lowry, do they come to an agreement and what does it look like? So if you're looking for max money, if you're saying 5 years, $200 million, number one, as much as I like Kyle Lowry, that is absolutely insane. On the other side of 30, on the bad side of 30.
Bingo.
So do you go 4 years and start chiseling it down? Do you end up going like 3 years and $80 million? My only thing is, and this is where I think sports, it's regardless, because I know San Antonio's also in this too, and I think that Kyle actually wants to stay. Obviously the town loves him. But if you start throwing out that kind of money, because it is, to a degree, it's a bit of a reward. It's a reward for what you've done for the franchise. And no one would begrudge Kyle Lowry getting those kinds of money based on what he's done with this team. Here's your problem. If you want to get better, does this make you better? Is this more a reward than it is a Raptor team, should they do this, than going forward and saying, what could we get for Kyle Lowry?
No, move forward. Don't give him the lifetime achievement contract for what he did the last 5 years. Sorry, that's what it looks like.
Because it's starting to feel that way, Dave. I think he stays.
You know what this feels like too. This, and it's not the same attitude or persona or anything like that. So don't get me confused here with how I'm kind of stating this. But this is similar to Jose Bautista thinking that he's owed the 5-year contract at max dollars because of what he's done the last 7 or 8 years. Both aging superstars. Both have seen their day, both on the other side of the hill. The Blue Jays actually, believe it or not, played it right by giving him the 1-year deal around what the league was asking for at that time, which so the conversion cost was 17.1. He got 18, so it makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people can't comprehend $18 million a season. No, that's kind of the going rate. It's a 1-year deal. They're not going to be able, the Raptors I'm talking about now, will not be able to do the same with Kyle Lowry. So you either give him 3 years and hope that he signs it or let him leave. Go, beat it. Go to the 76ers and get your 7-year deal because half of that contract will be wasted money from whatever team decides to make that mistake.
Yeah, and I think that the 76ers are not going down the road anyway.
I hope not.
No,
I just use the
don't believe they
76ers as an example just because of the hometown factor.
And there was talk, and obviously, he obviously, going to school there, growing up there, that is a huge attraction, but I don't think they're going to go that way. Is it possible he'd go for less money and try to win a ring, if that's the case, if you want to go to San Antonio? But here's your problem. When you start talking about wanting to win a ring, then you have to be wanted by Golden State or Cleveland. I don't see it any other way. And the jockeying around the Jimmy Butlers of the world and Paul George is going to be interesting because the Cavs all of a sudden, there's a lot of changing gears in trying to make some of this stuff work. If you're a Bulls fan, you're just used to misery anyways. The last 4 or 5 years have been just horrific on teams that looked like they had a chance. They can beat all the upper echelon teams in your division and lose to all the spares. You end up being maybe a couple of games over 500. You've switched coaches. You've switched philosophies. I would think of all the teams to be fans of it in the association right now, the Bulls, to me, would probably be the most frustrating because there's so much more they could have achieved.
And considering, the history of that organization, what it's meant to the city.
Well, you thought at one point Derrick Rose was going to be the guy that take you to the promised land.
Yeah.
And then he started talking about being healthy for his grandchildren when they walk on the beach. What?
I know, that's what I was thinking about in my mid-20s.
I mean, it's just hard for some of the veterans. And, we had Chuck Swirsky on talking about it. But, okay, let's quickly get to baseball. The Blue Jays, last night it was kind of a knockout punch pretty early. They get to Francisco Liriano, and it was very, very early. 6-1 was the final. They pile up basically 4 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Here's how it looked, courtesy of Major League Baseball and Fox Sports.
Okay, swings and hits this one a ton to center field. Pilar back at the wall. It is gone!
Okay, now listen to the music.
Adrian Beltre's second home run of the season. Makes it 6-1 Rangers.
This is awesome.
And there's number 2,960 for Adrian Beltre.
The music from The Natural.
He's gonna win tonight. And it appears that the ball, if you hit it well to center field, it will
It's not too over the top. I didn't feel.
Well, you know what? That's the kind of music you play in mid-June where your team's like 500-ish and getting roasted in your division.
The Natural with Robert Redford as the ball. It was Roy Hobbs, right? So the ball sailing out and it hits the lights, and the lights. And
It's a great scene.
Ba-dum, da-dum, da-da-da. It's like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
But they just did that for a home run in Texas in June.
Yeah, June 20th.
By the way, that movie shot in Buffalo.
Is it really?
War Memorial Stadium.
They
If I'm
did,
wrong,
eh?
if I'm wrong, tweet in Rob Mike Richards or at David Bastel. But I am pretty sure they shot it down.
I like
at
the way
War
you said
Memorial.
that there. That's good.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, 12 games behind the Houston Astros are the Texas Rangers. So cue the music, Natural.
Ba-bum. There's a bunt. It's ba-bum, ba-bum. For going foul. But yeet. Baseball lends itself for that kind of stuff. By the way, speaking of baseball, last night the Dodgers, who have caught fire, I think they're 9-1. I think in their last 10. I mean, I think at one point, could we believe that Colorado was just going to sit there and walk away with it? Because Colorado, and you talk about home field advantage, do they have, aside from the goofiness of maybe Fenway, does Colorado have the biggest home field advantage in all of Major League Baseball?
Yes, because it skyrockets out of baseball bats, out of that stadium. Even your average hitters hit 15 to 20 home runs on that team. It's like playing on it's like jumping on Mars or jumping on the moon, where it's like, oh look, I can go 50 feet in the air with one single bounce.
That's why if you're a pitcher, you
stay away from that
You don't want to
place.
be going there.
No.
But here's I think it was Corey Seager last night who had himself quite a lovely time, I would say. 3 home runs. Playing a Mets team where, you think about it, it used to be that pitching lineup, Dave. You talk about the Mets, you're like, wow, but they've been banged around pretty good.
You know what? Go to a hospital if you're going to see all the Mets pitchers, because you'll get a better idea of what that starting staff looks like rather than on the field. And it's too bad, because that's the way the arms work in today's age. And unfortunately, the Mets have 3 or 4 guys that are nursing injuries.
And you'll recognize the Mets pitchers because they're the ones who always have the long hair out of the back of the. I don't know if they just. Trust me, I like the look, but it did not work last night, courtesy of Major League Baseball.
In the air, center field, well struck. Conforto back. Conforto at the track.
Back.
Gets all over one. Number 10.
Gone.
Left field. Look out.
Uh-oh.
Way back.
And
Cespedes.
boom goes the dynamite.
Man.
Look at Chavez Ravino.
Second
Look
of the night.
at Dodger Stadium. It's beautiful.
Left
It's
field,
awesome.
Did he do it again? Cespedes back. Turning out of here.
Top 3 baseball
Third of the night
field
for
in
Mr.
the
Seager.
world.
Outstanding stuff right there. And right on schedule. Look at that. As we go to our good friend, here we go on the magic and the goofiness of Skype. And we say good morning to Warren Saku on rawmicrichards.com for the first time, Warren. For the first time, baby.
Where is my heavy metal entrance?
But okay. This is exactly what I said you were going to say. I said that this is what's going to happen.
He told me that
I said
earlier this morning. Yeah.
Because every time we play recognizable music, because of being live on YouTube at the same time, they give me a copyright infringement. They're like, you can't play Tesla. How dare you?
You can't play Dawkins.
You can't play
Maiden.
Dawkins. Oh, what was it? She
Dio?
was the something of the night. She was the engine of the night. Not the engine of the night. No, I can't think what it was. Because no one would believe that you actually have a tremendous resume in the world of metal music. No one would believe it. No one believe it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love the metal music. 80s metal is just all about that, and they, I love the bands, and I've gone to see, I saw Lemmy and Motorhead before he passed.
Wow.
Rob Halford. Oh my gosh, so many great 80s metal bands. Maybe not the same to see them a little later in life as it was earlier, but AC/DC comes to mind.
What about Maiden? Have you ever seen Maiden live?
Oh, Maiden, I saw at the CNE, Canadian National Exhibition. I saw them back in the 80s, and Guns N' Roses opened for them. DNR, Axl came out. He had the long trench, and he had the octagon hat, right? And or I don't know, whatever. But he came out, and then Maiden played afterwards, and that was the album where Appetite for Destruction was banned in Canada. Remember? And they came.
Oh, because of the cover.
Like this, right.
Yeah.
And it was this foggy, misty night, and it was tucked up at the top of the back of the old CNE grandstand. Oh my God, it was just such a great experience, and to see Maiden too, who are just such great musicians, right? Like really technically sound. To see them play there, I mean, that to me was metal. That concert epitomizes what I remember of heavy metal in the 80s.
Well, moving from that technical aspect to the pitching technical aspect of Francisco Liriano last night, not his best first outing, but I got to admit, though, I mean, when you look at what they've got out of Francisco, I mean, what did they really expect? Because I go back, and I said to Dave just earlier on the show, when he was at Pittsburgh, as a gambling man, when Liriano was on the mound, I would say almost 90% of the time you want to be putting money on Francisco Liriano. But as we know, with pitchers' arms and the way the sport works, it doesn't last forever. And for what the Blue Jays have got from him so far, how much longer does this really last? Or are we saying the experiment is maybe over?
Well, we need Russ Martin to really coach him along, right? That was, I think, to me, one of the biggest things, a great pitcher-catcher combination. Russ has been he's been a differentiator, not only on every team that he's gone to, but he's also been a differentiator for Liriano. I think you've captured lightning in a bottle. How long does it last? Do you get through this season and hope that, you can at least salvage something out of him? I listen, I mean, he's not by any stretch of the imagination over the hill, but yet he has been off injured, and I've seen the velocity really down, guys. Like, that's the one thing for me, is that he used to come up and absolutely intimidate with the fastball. He doesn't quite do that any longer. And, you can see when you don't place the fastball properly, Marco Estrada, and, of course, Marco throws a lot slower than Francisco does. But if you don't place the fastball and you can't command the fastball, gentlemen, you're going to struggle as a major league pitcher. So to me, that was always his best pitch, with good movement on it. And if you're the Blue Jays, you're hoping that you can at least milk the best of him for the remainder of this year. And then, guys, depending on where this team sits at the trade deadline, it could look a lot different next year, or even the back half of this season.
Yeah, it certainly can, Warren. Great talking to you this morning. Kind of curious on your thoughts of Kevin Pillar. He started off gangbusters, especially the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season. But for my money, the last month of the season, he's kind of tailed big time. I mean, that batting average is now under 250. The on base is at 300 even. Is it time to consider, if you're John Gibbons, is it time to consider maybe moving Pillar out of that leadoff spot? But if you do, it's not like they have a lot of candidates to fill that spot, because it's almost been a little bit of an Achilles heel with this club, not finding and not having a true leadoff hitter.
Yeah, great chatting with you too, David. And thanks for reaching out too last night. That's awesome. Glad to be on with you guys. And I would say, I mean, you might see Bautista in the leadoff position tonight. He's done that before. He's excelled there. But, I take it back to Pilar. He might wind up being that 250, 260 hitter. He will chase a lot of pitches, and that's the one thing, the strikeout levels. Guys, I watch and listen to a lot of baseball. Isn't it interesting now that Pilar is 13 for his last 98? Do we not think that there's something to do with that Atlanta incident with the homophobic slur?
Yeah.
That he's gone on an absolute slide since then? I mean, guys, come on. You can't. That has to impact you as an individual, as a person. And, I know you try to brush it off, but it to me looks like, because I counted the games, so roughly at 29 games since that happened, and you look at the 100 at-bats, if you averaged in around 4 at-bats per game, that kind of puts him right in that threshold. So to me, these are things that you will never see and people might not talk about, but I can tell you the feelings that happen and how momentum can change for an individual and how negative things can start to creep in, especially sentiment. And trust me, he hears it on the road. You go into Yankee Stadium, you're going to hear a lot of nasty things if you're Kevin Pilar. So, you have to have thick skin. And I think he does, but you're right. It really has been, it's been a tough stretch for him over the past month.
We're in conversation with Warren Saku here on rawmike.richards.com, talking Major League Baseball, Blue Jays. And Warren, if we're taking a look at this team as we start to head into July, so it's starting to get a little thick right now. You're starting to actually sort of formulate where, I guess, if you're ownership, if you're management, where your team is. And the Blue Jays, to me, I think, as I said to Dave the other day, it feels like if the Blue Jays were a television series, then of this current group, this is the last season of this show. After then the weird characters come out, maybe there's a couple of spin-offs or something, or the show, goes in and comes back with a new name or something. But I really don't see, if you're a Blue Jay fan, really wanting them to be buyers. Now, I get everyone wants to make the playoffs, but if I'm looking at it from a monetary situation of where I want to be, and I look what's ahead of me, when you got teams like, where they are in their cycle of their organization, that being the Yankees and the Bo Sox, I better be and get with that cycle soon. And I don't think I can do it by going halfway and buying some players to be a bubble team, maybe get into the wild card. I just don't see as a Blue Jay fan that that's advantageous. At some point, you have to look to the future, and I think the future could be in selling the guys you got who are worth value. What do you think?
Don't kid yourself. This is a smart front office. You look at Ross Atkins, Wake Forest University grad, by the way, just, pumping my deacons right there. You look at Mark Shapiro, Ivy League, right?
Oh, yeah,
These are smart individuals, okay? You're right. I think you absolutely hit it right there, Mike, with the fact that you need to keep up with organizations that have built robust minor league systems. Boston, New York. New York turned it around in one season with those two trades, with those big relievers, right? You look at Andrew Miller trade and Aroldis Chapman. Restocking. Guys, you got, I know Tulos, that contract at $20 million per year for a 32-year-old shortstop. You look at Russ Martin. Yes, he's Canadian, but that Russ is a tough one, right? Because I just believe that he's a great fit here right now. But you got to get something behind him in terms of some catching capabilities. What are you going to do? You're going to keep Sanchez and you're going to keep Stroman, I believe. But then everybody else is kind of out there. Marco's got free agency. I think you're right. I think they're 2 games back in the wild card. You're going to give it that 6 weeks right now, and 6 weeks is going to tell a lot, guys, because when I look at this schedule, it's not going to get any easier. When I look at the end of June, they're on the road now at Texas. Then they go to KC. Okay, so that you should win. But then you come home, Baltimore. Then you've got Boston. Then you got the Yankees on the road. Then you got Houston at home. All teams ahead of you right now, and Houston, the best team in baseball. All-Star break, you catch a breather. Guys, you go on the road for 10 days right after the All-Star break. Detroit, Boston, and Cleveland. And Edwin's heating up in Cleveland, so don't think he won't be motivated. Guys, this is the answer right here. This next month of baseball, it will tell you where this team's going to go, and it all depend on their record. And I would even still say, that you want to catch lightning in the bottle and you want to try to make the playoffs. But boy, what's the sacrifice you're going to make just to try to make one more push?
Warren, I'm going to give you 5 statements. I want you to tell me if you're buying the statement, as in, yes, I believe in what I'm hearing, or if you're going to sell the statement and say, no, this is clearly not going to happen. Let's start off with the Minnesota Twins. 2 games above 500. They are in contention. Are you buying or selling that the Minnesota Twins are a postseason team?
A postseason team.
So that could be wild card or division winner.
Whew. Yeah, okay. I am not buying that they're a postseason team. I'm buying that they're in there, but we're still too early. And yes, 2 games above, as you talked about, is a great achievement for Paul Molitor and crew. But to me, that's a weak division, and I still think that there's a lot of opportunity. So I'm not buying that one. I'm selling.
Buying or selling, the Houston Astros will win the entire American League and represent the league at the World Series.
Yeah, I'm buying that.
Yeah, I'm buying that too. Milwaukee Brewers, currently first place in the Central Division, buying or selling that the Brewers, just like the Twins, are a postseason team.
No, Joe Madden selling. Joe Madden's got the Cubs playing their half game back. Sorry, Milwaukee, I love you. You got a nice stadium, but that's about it. And you got Eric Thames, but that's it.
I will agree with you on that stadium. It is Miller Park is fantastic. Buying or selling, the Colorado Rockies will best the Dodgers at the end and win the West.
Oh, and don't forget the Arizona Diamondbacks. I am going to say, oh, wow. Holy cow, buying or selling that one? I'm going to buy it. I like Colorado. There's some mojo going on there in the Rockies. I'm buying it. I'm going to buy it. Yeah, I don't know. I got a really good feeling about that team.
Yeah, and they're playing some awesome baseball. Final question, Warren, for you from me. New York Yankees will win the American League East Division when everything's said and done in September. Buy or sell?
I'm selling. I'm saying Yanks last 7 in a row, even though Aaron Judge, 24 home runs leads major leagues right now. I think, to me, they're still, although they're right there, I think Boston's starting to build momentum, and I think it's all starting pitching with the Yankees. So I'm going to sell that there's not enough starting pitching yet for the Yankees to win the American League East.
Okay, I better. I did some research. I did some research last night too. Warren. Okay, so here's your buying and selling. Ronnie James Dio is the greatest rock singer of his era.
Buying.
Okay.
There we go.
There's a good one. Okay, here's another one.
I'm buying that.
Tesla is a better band than Cinderella.
Oh,
He's gonna think about that.
wow, that's really tough, actually. Tesla is better than Cinderella.
Yes.
I love Cinderella. Man, I guess you can't call it tie. So I am going to say, from a band perspective, Tesla is a better orchestrated band and a better compilation musical band than Cinderella was, the massive hair band they were.
You know what? What are you people?
There you go. There you go.
Who can do?
Do you like that? Is that a great analysis?
I thought it was great
because Cinderella.
because that's how I would say it the other day.
Warren, you are a 5-tool baseball analyst.
Yeah.
You could basically do anything on this show. You know what? Tomorrow, if we're talking about, I don't know, fixing the travel problem in Toronto, I think I'm calling you before I'm calling Tori.
Yeah, you could run for office. You got that nice clean cut look. No one would ever know the sleaze and disgustingness that probably exists.
As long as you don't call me a 5-star tool, though.
No.
Peter North was called that once, and he didn't like it. Hey, Warren, so great to hear your voice. We got to do this on a regular basis because I just love having you on. It's been fantastic here this morning.
Guys, I'm all yours. I'll do this anytime. You guys are the best, man. Mike, I'm so happy you and David are reunited. Really, really thankful to be on. Call me anytime, guys, okay?
That's fantastic.
Thanks, partner.
Take care, Warren.
All right, guys. Ciao.
That is Warren Saku joining us here today, and courtesy of Skype. That's what the weird music is when you hear that.
And former Winnipeg Goldeye of the AA Northern League. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm just saying.
and I'll also just say, and people say, well, what the hell is that? Actually, it's pretty good baseball, and if you've ever been to the ballpark,
Ooh.
that ballpark actually makes a lot of other ballparks, quite frankly, look bad. I mean, I think they were one of the first places, Dave, that had like sushi and stuff.
Yes. They actually have in the the right field stands, upper deck, first baseline, a restaurant called Who's on First. And it's a sushi place that sells a variety of Asian style of cuisine, and take reservations throughout the game.
You're watching or listening to rawmike.richards.com, available, of course, on YouTube, our dedicated channel, so subscribe to that. Subscribe to rawmike.richards.com. Be part of our list, which we appreciate as things get bigger and better. You know, we've been swapping out cameras. We just had a huge conversation yesterday with a bunch of people that are getting involved. It probably will have a very, very different look by the time we get to September, but that's why we're going on, trying to gather the fan base, get you used to Dave and I being back on together. But I can tell you that there are going to be some pretty big events coming up, and once we get closer to August, I can unveil some of those things. But you're going to see a little different look as we slowly go through the next couple of weeks. You're going to see finally a bunch of sponsors coming onto it, and one that we're very, very excited about. Can't announce it today, but when you have been longtime listeners and or viewers of what Dave and I do, when we announce
It makes a lot of sense.
who our big sponsor is going to be, you're like, yeah. You kidding me?
It's a pretty good marriage. Breaking news on Twitter this morning, according to the Golden Knights Twitter account, they write just minutes ago, still a few hours before they're announced, but the expansion draft picks are officially submitted with the NHL offices. So the picks are in, so to speak. And I ask you this, why, NHL, why isn't there a half an hour Golden Knights special on the selection of this first roster, so to speak? You could have made some cash. You could
Like
have
like an HBO.
anything like that. Anything like that. You could have put together some sort of live product. It was a missed opportunity that leagues like the NFL would jump on and make it a primetime event.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm watching this style of show before I'm watching the award show, if there was a selection or a choice between the two.
I mean, I don't really need to see Mike Mangello or whatever his name is, married to Sofia Vergara. You know what? Get Sofia Vergara. You want me to watch that show? Get her up there on a trampoline. Then I'm watching the show.
Interesting.
Otherwise, I don't really need to see it.
Is she wearing anything in particular when she's on this trampoline?
Oh, I don't think it matters, Dave.
Okay.
I think she could be in a snowsuit. I think guys would still watch it. The news a couple of days ago, and of course we talked about Adam Braidwood and the passing of Haig. Now, the one thing that I would say about this, and this is going to lead into another conversation, Warren Sapp kind of had some, I don't know if you want to call it interesting, sort of very in-your-face information that he released via the Players Tribune. But as you watch this, so for Tim Haig, here's a guy who had a miserable UFC record. He goes into Edmonton. He's going to fight because he wanted to get money for his son to enjoy his summer. And because of this hit, he dies on Father's Day. Now, the hit that for those of you watching, this is why you want to see this. The way the fight works out is they move to a different part of the ring, Dave. As Braidwood comes through, he almost walks through like a right-handed sort of uppercut. He walks through it sort of behind his body. So it's not the most dramatic hit, but what we know by this sport and combat sports, it is that resume of damage that has led up to all those previous concussions. So it doesn't take much. That's what look at the Lindros family. We know just falling down, being hit on the ice, your head bouncing off the ground or the turf can cause it. This is actually what it looked like in Edmonton. You can also see that Adam Braidwood, who's always a tough character, and he's had his own troubles, is basically ripped. He looks like a legit fighter. And unfortunately, right here, and then he goes down hard. The fight is over. He does recover to go to the dressing room, but eventually passes away. So once again, that's That is hard to watch, and it goes back to our conversation that we have about athletes concussed. Well, Warren Sapp, courtesy of the Players Tribune, yesterday, Dave, announces that he's going to donate his brain to concussion research when he dies. A lot of the issues that he talks about are ones that would go seemingly missed, except maybe by family members. But he's being very public about this. Once again, here's Warren Sapp talking about what he's going to do when he dies with his brain.
My whole thing when I started playing the game was I wanted this game to be better when I left than when I got into it. And that's the reason I'm donating my brain to the Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Again, on the player's POV. And the players.
I decided I wanted to praise my brain when I got an email from Fred Willis that had quotes from NFL owners. And I mean, down the line, you can see them. There's no correlation between the football, CTE, suicides, and all of this foolish stuff I mean, where are you getting this information from and then spewing it out as if it's fact? I remember those month-long training camp when we just banged and hit, and it was who was tough, and the misery loves company, and all the foolish sayings we used to say to each other. I mean, it was just bad. It was Neanderthals. We were dinosaurs. We were doing Oklahoma drill, bull in the ring, all the crazy stuff that was just about a tough guy. It wasn't about how much skills you had. It was just the bare bones of bone on bone, and that's not what this game should be. It's about skills. We play in the macho league, and we're talking about Hall of Famers now who are immortalized forever, made busts and everything, legends of the game. There's no way any of us want to really admit that we can't remember how to get home or a grocery list that the wife has given us or how to go pick up our kids to the school or whatever it may be. You try to, all right, I'm gonna get a little more sleep. Maybe, it was something I did last night, maybe it was something I drank or whatever it is. You try to find a reason that it's not that it's my brain, that I'm not deteriorating right before my own eyes. It's the most frightening feeling, but it's also a very weakening feeling because
that is, once again, Warren Sapp talking very matter-of-factly, very frankly about what his life is currently. And Dave, I know you've certainly been around a lot of athletes, some making their difficulties with concussions more public than others. I think that the special that you saw on, I think the TSN, the CFL on TSN, it was Matt Dunnigan, and I want to say it was our good friend Brian Williams who was doing the interview. But he talked about some of those issues too, what it's like to be, a high-end athlete like Matt always was, to be walking down a hallway and then have to reach out and sort of balance yourself against the wall so you don't fall down. Mm-hmm. Warren Sapp is talking about not even the physical issues, it's the mental ones, like reminding yourself where your kids are when you got to pick them up from school. And that's why I think we got into that discussion the other day with what we know about brain damage, that the sports that are contact, the sports that are now referred to as combat, at some point I wonder just how many of these sports either start to get changed so much that there's either a decision that we don't play them anymore, or that the rules that currently exist amongst these sports change the sport so drastically that maybe people don't want to see them. Because I love boxing, I watch UFC, football is my favorite sport in the entire world, and all three of those things that I'm talking about deal with violence.
High impact.
With violence.
Yeah.
And also, of course, what's going on with the NHL and hockey. Well, that to me is an even gray area because I'm not even so sure that people understand what the stance is by the league itself when it comes to players that are concussed. There is more gray area, I would say, in the thinking behind what the NHL says that leads me to believe that I don't think they're really settled on defined, I guess, criteria. Like every time I hear stuff out of the commissioner's mouth, it leads me to believe that they still are not settled on what they think is protocol, all the things that happen with players, whether they go to the dark room, all those things. And then the ramifications of being hit like that, I think the league right now that looks the weakest might be the National Hockey League.
Just because of they're not up to speed with the rest of sport. But you know what? I think we could say that about the NHL with a lot of things. They always seem to be, behind the ball in different aspects of the rules and different aspects of how to market the game. I gave you a good example of the Golden Knights. It's not that often that we see an expansion team start from scratch, but yet there was no specials, no special coverage, no events around. Sure, in the Vegas area, that's fantastic, but there are people like us here in the city of Toronto, throughout Western Canada, different parts of NHL territory that are kind of curious what the hell this team's going to look like. You had an opportunity to put together some sort of mock show for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it worked out to be, but nothing to be said. It's almost buried in a corner beside an award show that nobody's going to watch.
I'd rather have the live camera like we can show right now that you go to the streets of Las Vegas and all those weird people that with the escort cards that feel that snapping the cards in the elastic actually is now what's running behind me now. This is just a home camera.
It's catchy.
It's a little catchy and of course here's a guy just outside of Bally's looking at the people snapping the cards back and forth. And by the way,
pretty decent sports book at Bally's, by the way, but go on.
We don't believe for 1 second that the pictures of those girls are actually showing up to our homes. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Sasha Grey or Jenna Jameson or the woman who played Catwoman in the 1960s.
Check out the guy in the green, too, just like you mentioned.
The guy in the green, obviously, is not.
He's
right
slick,
by Paris,
He's
too.
slick. There you go.
Between Paris and Bally's. Now, here's what's funny about being from Calgary. As you're watching this, and they turn the camera on one of the main players at Paris, Anthony Cools actually attended the high school I coached high school football at. So what a great moment for him to see that happening in front of his like he's not used to it.
Is that his real name?
No, it's not.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good name if it's his real name.
It's an abbreviated name, I believe, of Cools.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, I'm not making fun of it, but I just think it's if that was the born name, that's cool.
Now
that's cool.
Now you remember from Calgary, Tara McCool.
I do remember
Tara
that.
McCool.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's done some. That's the real name.
That's the real name.
That's the real Irish name.
McCool. Yes.
How was that?
And a pretty good pub, by the way, McCool's.
Yes. I'm Russell McCool. How's it going, ladies?
Roast beef McCool.
Yeah. You want a little taste of my sandwich?
RBM.
Meat that keeps on giving. McCool's. Actually, I think we just grossed everyone else out there. I don't know why I had to use that voice. Coming up tomorrow, I guess we'll talk a little bit about the NBA draft. Should be an interesting one. There's movement, people jockeying for position. Dylan Brooks. You've got Dylan Brooks, who's going to be yet another Canadian. Boucher is another one that's up there. They're both in the top 50. So depending on what teams feel their needs are going to be, we'll see just how many Canadians get into the NBA. And again, now it's not a question of like one or two. It's you're looking at NCAA. There are literally hundreds who play Div 1 basketball.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
When we had Leo Routens on, when he went to Syracuse, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was just losing it that he went to a program that big, coming out of St. Mike's, that a Canadian was just going to be a scholarship guy on the team. Now, as we've seen over the last several years, sometimes your best players are Canadians. Sometimes the top draft picks are Canadians. And sometimes your two-time MVP in the National Basketball Association, a Canadian.
Boom.
Which they still hate.
No,
You want to get into a fight about that one? Just start talking about Steve Nash, how he won it back-to-back, and they hate it. And you think about it. A guy born in England, pasty white guy, goes out to Vancouver, loves soccer, goes to Santa Clara, and that's the guy who's going to win back-to-back MVPs? It's an extraordinary story. It truly is. Once again, thanks for all the tweets here this morning. It continues to be very, very busy. And a little bit of a treat for ourselves here on Friday in studio. Bull Riders. Yeah. We're going to have a legendary bull rider as the Bull Riders come to Toronto at the Rico.
Correct, on Saturday.
On Saturday. So we're going to have a guy in, and I'll tell you, these stories, if you're not familiar with what that world is like and what they go through, when you hear his story, and we just talked about hockey being tough, about football being tough, I couldn't imagine going through what some of these guys do. So we're looking forward to have that. It's a nice way to kick off the weekend, in which I'm sure here in Ontario, once again, weather will be shit. Just is.
You're not joking. It's so brutal, too. Unreal.
I got it.
You want to go do karate in the garage?
Yeah. Here we go. I'd like to thank Warren Saku, who joined us here today for the first time. By the way, he also tweeted out, this is why he's such a beauty. Love it, boys. Thanks so much. Def Leppard may have been the best staying power of any 80s metal band. Saw them, and they still sound top shelf. Rock on! And, of course, Warren Saku. So great to have him on the shows today. See you bright and early tomorrow. I guess we'll be talking about award winners, Dave.
We will.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's going to talk about Sofia Vergara's husband.
Nope.
On this show, in Spanish, no. See you tomorrow.